Gator virtual fair. As Pierre said, my name is Pablo. My name is Pablo Allen, and I am a Costa Rican. And I am here. I'm the academic director here at CIE Monteverde. And Moncho will also be joining us. His real name is Jose, but he goes by Moncho. And also Jocelyn, who's an alumni, will be here, and you will give her also some time after I talk a little bit to tell us, what her experience was here in Monteverde. Today we'll talk about a couple. I'll talk a little bit about the overall experience. But remember that we're talking about the two summer high school programs that we're running here, which is the climate change mitigation program and also the Women in STEM program. And this picture is a picture of the summer students, of these past summer students, in their last day having a really awesome sunset in their last dinner before heading back to the United States. So where is Monteverde? Okay, so Monteverde is in Costa Rica, in Central America, right? Costa Rica is a small country, the size of West Virginia. And then Monteverde is a very small little town in the mountains, in the cloud forest of these beautiful country. And here you can see, can you see my pointer? You guys can see my pointer? Yeah, I see, okay. And so Monteverde is in the cloud forest. In the cloud forest, right, there's this Santa Elena, which is the town, in the middle of Monteverde. But then there's also the San Luis Valley, which is this valley that you see here, where the campus is. So the CIE campus is in the San Luis Valley in the Monteverde region, but we are very close to everything, to the cloud forest. I mean, sometimes it's so misty in the mornings that you will definitely know that you are in the right place, in the middle of the cloud forest. So what are some of the reasons to come here, to come to Monteverde? Some of the top reasons are, again, as I said, living in the footsteps of the world famous Monteverde cloud forest. You'll be able to see the cloud forest every morning when you wake up up in the mountains. You'll be surrounded by nature, right? Here's a little picture of this little, little bird, but we have way bigger birds up here, like the resplendent quetzal, which is a very beautiful green and red bird that, it's emblematic of the cloud forest. Is the national bird of Guatemala. I wish it was our national bird, but whatever. It's still here, and we have much more. We have, tons of plants, awesome trees, awesome animals, monkeys. I'll promise you that you see monkeys. We also have, all sorts of other stuff. And also, we are close to rivers where you can go swim. You can go visit some amazing waterfalls. And again, also just take really nice hikes on the cloud forest, which is great. Additionally, on that, the campus not only has great access to its own forest, and we're close to the cloud forest, but we also have a farm. Our campus is very big, is like 140 acres, and which a lot is forest, but we also have a sustainable farm. We have cows, and we have pigs, and we have chickens, and we use our farm also as a teaching tool. So we incorporate these factors. We incorporate all the things with the components that we have in our campus to teach about the conservation, sustainability, biodiversity. But there's also you can also go milk the cows. I don't know if Jocelyn got to milk the cows, but cows don't milk themselves. They have to be milked every day. So if you want, you can wake up a little early one day and go and milk cows. It's probably also an activity that we'll do in one of the courses. But again, we also have pigs which you can take out in this little forest patch, and you can also go pick the eggs at the hen house. So we have different activities that again we incorporate into our educational experience, including helping in the coffee farm, which again, coffee is a very important agricultural product in Costa Rica. And again, another great reason to come here is that Monteverde, San Luis is super safe, and Monteverde is also very safe. And if you have questions about that, um, we can discuss them in a little bit. Also, sorry, I forgot to say, if you have any questions, you can add them to the chat, and you can also send them as a private message to Moncho, for example, and he can answer, if you have any questions about Monteverde, but also feel free to also just jump into me talking, and, unmute your microphone and let us know if you have a question. Please do that if you want to ask us something, if you want to ask me something. Okay, a few more highlights of your visit to Monteverde. Well, here's a picture of some of our students. This is definitely pre-COVID, but here are some of our students enjoying some of the food, which is again one of the highlights that we have here, right? You'll be able to have a lot of our Costa Rican typical food, a lot of dishes, that are traditional here. And also there will be a lot of fresh fruit available every morning for breakfast. And, for the other meals, there'll be a lot of fresh vegetables. Also, a lot of these vegetables, and it is part of the, cultural and educational experience, is that we produce a lot of, the produce that we eat in the farm. So participants will have the opportunity, to work on the farm. It could be part of one of the projects to work on the farm, to see, to help work the land, and help with, just gathering whatever is it that is in season: lettuce, tomatoes, potatoes, whatever it is, and that will end up in our bellies for sure. So another great thing is that your opportunity to practice Spanish. This is Costa Rica. Spanish is the official language, and everybody here speaks Spanish. And just don't be afraid, and you'll find out that all staff members are very willing to talk to you in Spanish. So apart from your Spanish classes that are included in both programs, you can also, practice your Spanish with your peers or with staff members. Another thing of why Monteverde is famous is because of how the conservation movement grew in Monteverde, and how it has been going on for almost 70 years now, and how it was this small community initiative by some Costa Ricans and some Quakers that came from the United States, from Alabama in the 50s, and how they started, protecting the land here many, many years ago. And we will, in both programs, we will talk about this history. So you will also learn a little bit about, this connection between Costa Rica and the United States. And, also, even though it's me saying it and I'm a Costa Rican, we are really friendly and outgoing. And, if the participants interact with us outside the class, you will definitely find that out. And if you come here, we'll explain what Pura Vida really means. Okay, so A few more points. What's in this program? So I, sorry if I failed to mention this, but I taught during this last summer. I was a professor in the, I was a teacher in the climate change mitigation program. And so, but I also helped develop both programs. So all of these, definitely I have no experience on this, and Jocelyn can talk about her experience in a few minutes, but there's definitely hands-on learning every day. We try to keep the class time, like the PowerPoint or discussion in the classroom, to less than a third of the class, right, of the class time, and we try to do more. We go outside and we learn outside. We, again, this campus and the surrounding farms and conservation institutions really allow us to, have days, have class time that is hands-on, trying things in the garden or learning about how coffee is grown in sustainable ways in our 2 coffee plots that we have on campus, but many other stuff, learning about permaculture, helping in the community gardens, or, just which will be part of the volunteering opportunities. And again, we also, learn how to, in the case of climate change mitigation, how is carbon stored in trees? We go outside and measure trees in our forest. So again, a lot of hands-on learning every single day, and with many activities. We also have a lot of cultural activities that we link with our classes, but also, that are fun. And then again, we have like visiting the the Cloud Forest Reserve, and other places. I just don't want to tell you all the surprises that we have, but maybe Jocelyn can tell you about them. Um, and then again, there will be, as I just said, there will be also some service learning opportunities, volunteering in a community garden, or planting trees for neighbors, which these trees are grown in our nursery. So that is also part of the learning experience. And obviously there'll be some free time to explore the campus. A few more highlights, although I did already mention some of them, is that the groups are small. There'll be definitely at one adult per 10 students, definitely less than that, but for sure, one adult for 10 students. So, there'll be the attention that each participant gets. It's a lot. And then we also get not only from the teachers, but we'll invite people from the community, like from the local conservation organizations, or go to them, and they will tell us about, their experiences living in Monteverde, the history that they know, and just, why they decided to stay in Monteverde. The Monteverde community has a lot of people from the United States and from Europe that, came here, fell in love with the place, and decided to stay here, and now work in conservation, in education. They have a coffee shop, and all this stuff. And as I just said, we really link our activities to we link our classes, our syllabus, to the activities that we do, right? So always trying to link, the fun stuff with also the classes. So a few details about what are these activities. So for example, there'll be an opportunity to have cooking classes in small groups. Then you learn to make, some of the local dishes like empanadas, for example. And we'll go to some of the local reserves. Again, something interesting about Monteverde is that in Monteverde, all the reserves are private. They are not state owned. They are not national parks, which is a very interesting approach. Again, conservation here is from the ground up. So that'll be very cool to see. But also, some other fun activities. There'll be dance classes, soccer. This picture of soccer I took like 2 days ago. No, 2 days ago. That's a lie. 2 weeks ago. I took this picture like 2 weeks ago. We try to have soccer at 4 p.m. After classes are done and other activities are done. But there's also volleyball and basketball. Again, you can also, if you're really into farming, you can make that part of your project, which is at the end. In both programs have, a project at the end as part of the class. But again, you can go milk cows if you want every day. So and you can learn more on your own. Sorry, and then I'll drink a little bit of water. And again, I'll keep repeating this, that we really try to link all the activities that we do to the educational goals of the day, to the learning objectives of the day. And yeah, here what do we have? Yeah, we have the playing soccer, also walking on the trails, and there will also be, an opportunity to learn about ecotourism. Ecotourism is very important. Ecotourism is very important for Costa Rica, in general, for Costa Rica's economy, and Monteverde is the best place to learn about that. So we'll have fun. We'll go to the zip lines, but with, again, an educational purpose, right? To learn about, why people that used to be hunters, that used to be farmers, change their started, everybody started protecting their forest, and it has really made ecotourism the number one activity in Monteverde, and it is a very important activity in general in Costa Rica. And so that's why there's that. And then next, just a few reminders that if you finish your application by December 1st, you get a chance to win a free flight. And also for alumni, that you can save $200 if you start your application through their referral links.
And Jocelyn, yeah. Jocelyn just put her referral link in the chat. If any of you haven't started an application yet, if you start with Jocelyn's link, you will get 200 off the program, and you can apply to this program, but also any CIE summer abroad program. It'll be a great segue to hear from Jocelyn what your experience was like.
Yep.
If you want to go back maybe on the slide with the activities in case.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh yeah. I'll leave the screen on, right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I was a student in the summer abroad program last summer for climate change mitigation, and pretty much we stayed there for about 3 weeks, and we would have like class all the weekdays, and then on the weekends we would go to different like tourist attractions and different farms and like preserves and things, and learn all about that there. And it was all just even if I want to go into environmental science, so it was very valuable to me, but there was a lot of students there with me that wasn't like the path that they wanted to go into, but they still all like were really interested and in learning. There was we learned about just the culture in Costa Rica there, and like the food, and the ecotourism was really cool to learn about. My favorite was learning about like permaculture and like how, like the indigenous knowledge from like Costa Rica from like generations, and how we're like kind of combining it with like new technology and to make it the most sustainable practices was really cool. And we also got to just like pretty much just have fun around campus and like go hiking and dancing and all that stuff. Even though when I went, it was COVID was definitely a lot stronger. So we were in masks most of the time, and it was more restricted. But it was still, even with that, it was like still an amazing experience that I definitely want to go to again. But you know,
so with a few. Oh, sorry, I was going to ask you, like, and now that you're a few months after your trip, like, what stays with you, both in terms of like what's the best memory you keep and the skills I think you'll learn on program, like when you reflect on that, what do you think?
It was just a really valuable experience in both you know, I kind of like call it like humbling almost, and just how like the culture of like Pura Vida just is really amazing to me, and just like how much like here, and I think in like the US and stuff, we just like worry about so much, and that we have so many things that are like either wasteful or just we don't really focus on like the pure life pretty much. We don't focus on like the little things and or the bigger things, and like how we all should just like live more simply and in the best way and like respectively. Yeah, so I think that was just really important to me. And then I also in terms of like my career choices and going forward, because I'm a senior in high school, I want to go more into like environmental education than just like environmental science, because I think teaching how I learned that they were teaching their community like more sustainable ways like really resonated with me and inspired me, that I want to teach other people and more like younger generations and everything how to like go forward and you know, share different perspectives on sustainability and climate change and things like that.
Awesome. But we'd love to open it up to all of you guys if you have any questions for Jocelyn or Pablo. You can probably stop sharing the screen, Pablo.
Yeah.
So we can see people if you guys want to speak up. Good question in the chat. The difference between the climate change program and the Women in STEM program. Do you want to take that one, Pablo?
Yeah. Let me fix. Sorry, I had everybody in another screen, but now I'm back to normal. Yeah, that's a great question. So the climate change mitigation program is definitely focused on, you know, the causes of climate change, the causes of climate change, and the science behind, you know, climate science, and what activities can be done to, you know, to mitigate climate change, like, you know, renewable sources of energy, that kind of stuff. Is very focused. The program is focused on that, on, you know, other activities like reforestation, agriculture, sustainable agriculture, as Jocelyn was saying, permaculture being part of that. The Women in STEM is much more broad regarding what themes they talk about. And it's about highlighting women in STEM. So they have, for example, I'm not going to say daily, but they have a lot of guests of women that have their careers in science, in Costa Ricans that work in engineering, like, for example, designing cars or planes, or you know, having their own product of health products and stuff like that, or a forestry engineer that tells them about climate change. Right? So it's not out of the question, but it is definitely a more broad program regarding the themes in science that they talk about.
And it's also a program that's only open to girls.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I would love if Jocelyn could take the question on what's a typical day.
Yeah. Well, for my program anyway, it pretty much started pretty early. Like, I think we were waking up at like 7, so like a typical like school day time. And we would get ready, and we would all, my cohort anyway, we'd all walk together, and because we were in the cabinas, which is about say, like a mile away from where you get breakfast. I don't know. It was quite a walk, but it was very fun. Sometimes it was pouring, but um, it we would walk there and get breakfast, and sometimes we would stay there. When during the week we would go on like a small trip, either to somewhere around campus, like or we would take a van somewhere around Monteverde. And then we would have like Spanish class when we got back, and then we would eat lunch, and then we would go to our normal class, which would be like heavily focused on like climate change mitigation, and we would do like an activity or something. Like we would go out and like take a hike and measure uh, like the absorption of carbon in trees, and like do a science project like that. And then after that, we would have some free time and then eat dinner. And after that, we pretty much had more free time, and we would have to, we would go back, and sometimes we would go hiking, or we would like just play games, or like I remember we would do like Just Dance a lot when we were bored. But and that was really fun. So we would also have to like do a journal at the end of every day, which would either be like just how we felt, or like answering a question about something we learned that day, and that would be like submitted to Canvas, and that would kind of be like a participation grade. So yeah, and then on the weekends it would be more of like a field trip that would take up most of the day.
There was a good question about living arrangement. I'm going to share my screen and let me know if you can see. Because Pablo, we didn't go over the living arrangement. It's in great detail,
Yeah.
but so I have those 2 slides with the. Can you guys see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you like the setup, like how the campus is located, like in really at the footstep of the forest. So when you said you had to walk a mile, Jocelyn, let's check.
No.
I'm not good at directions.
Jocelyn, Jocelyn was in the cabinas.
Yeah.
Because the campus was full. And so she had to walk like half a mile. I'm going to say half a mile
Yeah.
from the cabinas, which are not in this view. But for the upcoming summer, all the students are going to be in these bungalows, in this the middle picture on the top.
So the bungalows is what you see here, right?
These 4 bungalows, these 4 structures are the bungalows. So all the high school participants would be there, and then the cross is where the dining hall is, and that is where that's 100-yard walk. But yes, Jocelyn was farther away.
It was very beautiful though. It was enjoyable.
Yeah. And then the cabinas, let me see that picture right there, that's a picture of the cabinas.
Gotcha.
And that's where I think Jocelyn with her peers would like have discussions, right? Sometimes that's where that would happen.
Yeah.
And it's a really like fully equipped campus. It's 160 acres, I believe, the campus.
Yeah.
And it has everything from housing to a student union, where you can just have like a lounge area, a cafeteria, a basketball court, soccer field, labs to do experiments. So students can pick samples in the forest and then go study in labs. So it's kind of a beautiful place because it's really a controlled environment where we own all the buildings and can really design programs around the facilities that we have, and can really enjoy outdoor education and then bring that stuff back to the classroom. So in fact, last year it was one of the few programs we were able to run because we were because it's a place where we're in such control of the environment. So one word, Pablo, on the living arrangement. I think students will be sharing bedrooms and they will be split by gender. I think they can be up to 4 per bedroom, if I am correct, in bunk beds. And every room has their own bathroom. They'll be sharing a room and a bathroom with 3 other students.
Yeah, these bungalows in here in this picture has 4 rooms. So that building has 4 rooms. Each one of the 4 buildings, 4 bungalows, has 4 rooms in it.
Right. Is there any other question? Jocelyn, what was the activity that you enjoy the most? And what's the coolest animal you saw?
Best activity. There were so many. I think on campus, I really I loved going to the farm. I remember we were helping out, kind of clear a section for I think it was going to be like a vegetable garden, but it was really and then I remember while we were there, they were moving the chicken coop, so we helped them like clear that out too. And we got to feed the cows, and yeah, that was definitely a highlight. Just a little highlight, like walking past to go to the main like dining hall area and everything. We would pass the farm, and we would always like say hi to the cows and stuff. So I love cows, so that was really fun. But I think off campus, my favorite experience, the bat jungle was really fun. And then more towards the end, we got to go to the El Tigre waterfalls, and we got to go horseback riding afterwards, and it was just yeah, it was a lot of hiking, but it was really fun, and it was something really out of my comfort zone, because I live in Florida and there's no hills, so pretty much the whole thing was out of my comfort zone in terms of physical. But it was really cool. Like afterwards, when we were like horseback riding and seeing the beautiful scenery and everything was really cool.
Awesome. Actually, you make a good point about physical intensity. I mean, I think it's adapted for, you don't have to be a professional hiker to qualify to go on the program, but if you have mobility issues, that may be a challenge in a location like Monteverde. There's a couple of questions in the chat. Do the 2 programs socialize? Yes, I believe they would have activities in common, right?
Especially next summer, for sure.
Oh yeah, that's right. Last summer we were trying to keep groups small for social distancing, but yeah, it's more open this year.
But activities like soccer, basketball, all the sports activities would be frisbee. This last group loved playing frisbee. I remember that, like just throwing the frisbee around. But for sure, or dance classes, for example, karaoke, maybe. For sure, those would be able. And if the next question is about interact. Yeah, they would be able to interact in, for example, during meal times. Which is
not so much with the college students though, right? Because we do have college students on campus and high school, so sometimes they can overlap, but they don't necessarily have activities in common.
Yeah, no, that's why it's most likely at meal times.
Yep.
Like they can talk, at meal times, but our college programs, like our high school programs, are packed
and separate
with activity. Yeah.
What's the one thing, Jocelyn, you wish you knew? before you went and that you didn't know?
I definitely I think I overpacked. I think all of us thought we overpacked. Pretty much it was I was like ready to go on like an expedition. I didn't really know what to pack, but it was pretty much just like any like t-shirts and like more like dry fit clothing is like perfect. But that's something. And closed-toed shoes because snakes. So
Yeah.
well, I didn't see any snakes, but I was told there were snakes. And something that I just wish I knew in general is that like I was really worried about like if we were all gonna like the people in my cohort we were gonna like be able to like get along. Like I thought it was gonna be very like hard to make friends and everything. And like immediately like even the day at the airport we were already all like friends and everything. And it was I was nervous for nothing. Everything was all very accommodating. Like everyone at CIE was so accommodating. Uh, for like personally for me, I have a disability with that uh, I couldn't walk as much sometimes. Like I was in physical therapy from the moment that I went to Costa Rica and stuff. But everyone was so like understanding and accommodating that I was able to get the best experience possible. And the food was amazing. I think that was like the best that I've eaten in my whole life. Just like fresh food in general. And just
Are you,
everything was really amazing. And I
are you,
was like, yeah.
are you still in touch with some of the friends you met on program?
Yeah, we have a group chat that we made in the
Awesome.
beginning, like right before we went, that they told us to make. They gave us like a Microsoft Excel sheet of like everyone's contact information that we all filled in with our like social media, and we still talk like about like college and like because there's some people who are in their first year of college, and then there's others that are like me and seniors in high school. So we're all talking about that, and then like just talking about the stuff that happens in our different like states and everything. So it's really cool.
That's great.
Jocelyn, were you prepared for the weather?
I was because it's pretty much the same, but no one else was. I would think I was the only one in like climate change mitigation, I think, or just in my cohort in general that was from any climate. Like I'm again from Florida, so it's like the pouring rain and everything. I made sure to research my rain jacket. That's one thing that I would make sure that everybody knew. Like water resistant and waterproof are two very different things. And the rain jacket definitely needs to be waterproof because we are just like hiking rain or shine, and it's really cool, but definitely you need to prepare for that because most of my cohort just had ponchos by the end.
We do share a packing list with all participants, like specific to the program they're going to, so you'll have some help with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's a question about restrictions on cell phones.
Yeah, I can answer that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously for class, right, we ask the students to be respectful and to not use their phones during class. But that being said, there are some activities that we ask the students to use their phones. Like we have interactive virtual activities like games like Kahoot and other interactive things where things pop up in the screen. So we will even tell them like before class begins, hey, everybody, bring your cell phone to class today. But again, if it's just like paying attention or it's a discussion, we ask, to be respectful and to not use their phone. We, as a rule, we do not allow any technology in the dining area. So no computers or cell phones during meal times. So that's a time where it is restricted, right? So it's good to know, when that time is. in case you want to call, your participant, and they are, if you're a parent, and you want to call them, we follow a meal schedule, and at those times, nobody can use their phones, not the staff. We just do not bring them in our into the dining area. So that is the one time where there is a restriction on the cell phones.
Regarding the campus, I also wanted to say in the chat, I left a link to a virtual tour of campus that's done by students that you can check out after. It gives you a good sense of the space and the various areas.
Also, internet is very good, so they will have very good connectivity.
Usually we encourage students to not be glued to their, community back in the US, just so that they really enjoy the moment and like really stay with the group. The last thing we want is a student who's not engaged and just homesick and like, absorbed by that. So we'll want to avoid that. But you won't have any issue getting in touch with your students if you need to.
Yeah, I also want to mention that for some of the activities outside campus, we will visit places with no Wi-Fi. So they won't have any phone reception or anything like that. There will always be a CIA staff with them who will have phone reception. So if there's an emergency, there are ways for us to communicate with whoever we need to contact, but the students will not have internet reception all the time, especially when they are outside campus.
There was a question from Ella about the average age of students. I believe across our programs, the majority of students is usually junior. I imagine it applies to Monteverde too, right, Pablo? Or Jocelyn, do you remember like the age split in your group?
It was, well, we got, I think we were all supposed to be, like I was going to be a junior in our, program, but we got delayed a year. So a lot of
that's right. Yeah,
a lot of the people in my group were either they just graduated or they were going to be seniors. But there were a few juniors then too. So I think if it was like regular, it would be mostly like juniors and seniors.
On a normal year, yeah. I want to say a word about the scholarship too. We didn't talk about that, but we administrate like one of the largest scholarship program for US high school students. Jocelyn, it's great that you were able to earn a scholarship. We award about $5.4 million every year for high school students. So it's kind of unique in the US, and you should definitely take advantage of that if you can. The scholarships are based on academic merit and financial need, and they range from 10% to 100% of the cost of tuition. So I invite you to apply, even if you feel like you don't have any financial need. If you're a good student, you have a shot at the academic merit scholarship, which is typically 10%. So you should look into that. The deadline for that is January 14th. If you do have an application already and that you are ready to complete, I would encourage you to complete it before December 1st, because we're going to do a raffle to win a free flight for anyone who finishes their application by December 1st. So you may want to do that. And if you're stuck with your application or need help, I also wanted to say that we are doing a session on Thursday of this week at 8 p.m. Eastern, where you'll have access to our team. They'll show they'll talk about each of the key tasks in the application, and then we'll do like troubleshooting. So you can come in with your question and our team will be here to help you troubleshoot. So if you're interested in attending that session, I'm going to just put again the